happened in this meeting, because it happened in a similar meeting. I'm going to keep this very brief. Fortunately, Lisa Stanley has actually said most of what I wanted to say, and I can vouch 100% for what she has said, because I have got all the archive material. And there was one occasion where I came to this meeting appalled at the standard of conduct of the town councillors here, many of whom, let's not forget, are district councillors. And I brought a trundle truck in with many folders of archive material, and I said to them, please ask me for the evidence. If you don't know something, then ask me. Not one of them did. And I left a Recreation and Works meeting last month and said to David Oyns, read your history, because sadly all we hear are repetitive things over and over again which mislead Portishead public. And to my dying day, I will make sure that I stand up when I hear our residents being misled or lied to or meddled in any more political games on the skate park or the nature reserve, because I think the two of the most appalling things that have happened in this town are the skate park and the nature reserve. And I don't think people here want to hear about she said, he said. They want facts. We can give you the facts, but sadly we don't seem to get the facts back from you. And there's no point 1 minute wanting to be a district councillor in this meeting with a district council hat, or a town councillor, or next minute wanting to be a resident. You be one at this meeting and you keep it that. And if you want to give some information to us, then give it to us. I'm tired of hearing all this she said, he said. The reason I held up signs at this meeting is we've had to develop some signs about breach of conduct, fact, fiction, because quite often we hear misleading information from town councillors. We're not allowed to speak after public participation, and it is the most frustrating thing to sit here or stand and hear councillors not telling the truth. And believe me, I can 100% support Lisa Stanley and other residents who have stood here saying we have been lied to, because we have. And can I just correct Councillor Coops? When Councillor Coops said she'd heard two figures on the skate park when Mrs Davey and Mr Maltby were talking about the town hall, you hadn't heard 800,000 for a skate park. You had heard a resident saying, for goodness sake, it cost £800,000 in Section 106 money for cab stand, not for a skate park. And what he was referring was, you could have used that money for a skate park. Okay, so that's another thing. Thank you. With regard to the surveys that Mr Oyns claims that he participated in, we have to remember that the planning consultation for the Lakeground site went through due process. And in that process, the public had the right to take part and give their comments, which they did. The majority of Portishead, as Lisa Stanley has said, voted in support of the Lakeground site. There are other sites available, but they voted in support. A minority voted against. But what happened then was, certain councillors decided, oh, we don't really like democracy. We're going to start doing our own surveys until we get the answer that we want. And believe me, I've got the surveys. And they didn't just do one, because when they did one, they decided that wasn't good enough. We'll do another one. And they did another one. And that still really didn't prove that people didn't want a skate park. So they then did another one. And when we asked, who did they actually send the surveys out to, we were told we were meddling and asking questions that really weren't pertinent. Of course it was pertinent. If you're going to send a survey out to people, then we need to know how many you sent it out to. But the main point of it all was, it was after due process, it was after the planning proposal, and the councillors in this town would not accept the democratic decision by the residents to support a skate park at the Lake Grounds. And there is nothing that David Oyns can say that can deny that fact. I was going to actually read the address I made back in 2008. And the reason I was going to read that is that nothing's happened since that. Everything that's in this address is still current now. We're still wasting money on the cab stand. We wasted £800,000 of Section 106 money. Yes, it was Section 106. It wasn't money that was in a reserve pot. But now I think it's £400,000 is going to be spent to put it right when David Paisley told us that it had been put right the first time. And then it was tweaked, I don't know how many times, and we were told again it's been put right. I don't think it's going to be right this time, but a decent pot of paint might have put it right at the beginning, and we were also misled on that. And finally, I would like just to highlight this North Somerset Times report. It has inaccurate information, and I've written to the editor about it. I questioned as to why he didn't want to give any balance from a resident who supported the skate park. He gave Mr Oyns' views, and he gave Mr Bryant's views, and Lisa Stanley's quite correct. I've got the emails from Peter Bryant when he said, I refuse to consider any evidence. Is that what we want in our town? A councillor who says he's not prepared to consider the evidence. And then we've got Mr Oyns on page 5 saying he's not even convinced that there's support for a skate park anymore. This is the man who said at the very beginning, I don't want a skate park in anybody's backyard, and that's fine, he's entitled to his opinion. But what is crucial for Portishead is, this is the same councillor who's been charged with actually finding a skate park location. And in this paper, Mr Oyns has said yet again, well, we've looked at 4 sites. Oh, yeah, I've driven around the town. 2 were no good, but there's another 2. Mr Oyns has never told us where those other 2 are. First of all, it was Bristol Road. He told a resident that he was having discussions with North Somerset Council. No discussions with North Somerset Council. And I know that because I asked for a Freedom of Information request. There has been no conversations by any councillor with North Somerset Council on the skate park. And I find that appalling. And also for Peter Bryant to think that no district councillor has been asked by residents for a skate park, you must have very short memories of district councillors in this room and the town councillors, because Matty Hemmings, who happens to be a champion BMX rider, stood in this meeting appealing for a skate park.
Thank you, Mrs Hennessy.
I haven't quite finished.
Well,
all right, I'm just going to say...
Time is...
All right, I do appreciate that.
We've got our caretaker.
I do appreciate that. I want to hear what Mrs Townsend's got to say as well. But firstly, I'd just like to say to the gentleman at the very beginning who criticised